जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुनतीरावनचारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुनतीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुनतीरावनचारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुनतीरावनचारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधे। जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे। जय जगन्नाथ बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा। जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पतगामी नयन पतगामी भाव तुम्हें। जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पतगामी जय सच्चिनंदन जय सच्चिनंदन जय सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि पतित पावन पतित पावन पतित पावन गौर हरि जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल। भक्ति श्री श्री राधा गोपी वल्लभ की जय, श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय, श्री गौर निताय की जय, श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह स्वामी भगवान की जय, भक्ति गणाथ सिंह देव भगवान की जय, भक्ति श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, श्री ब्रह्ममत भगवाड़ी गुरु परंपरा सांप्रदाय की जय, वृंदावन श्री गोस्वामी की जय, ऐसे भक्ति गणाथ स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री गुरुदेव की जय, निताय गौर हरि प्रेमानंद श्रीमद् भागवतम रिसाइटेशन की जय, श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री व्यासदेव की जय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतिषे नमः। नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गौब्राह्मणहिताय च जगदिताय कृष्णाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। चेतोदर्पणमर्जनं भवमहद्भवाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयकैरिव चन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वत्मस्थापनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्। नाम नामकारि पौडानि च सर्वशक्ति तत्रादिपा नियमिता स्मरणे न काल एतादृशी तव कृप भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमिदृशम् इह जानननुरागः तृणादपि सुनिचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमाननीय मानदेन कीर्तने सदा हरि न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितं वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतद्भक्तिरहोयतकी त्वयि वायुनन्दतनुज किङ्करपतितमां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजधूलिसदर्शं विचिन्तया नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदरुधाय गिरा कुलकिरणचितं वपुगदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति युगायितं निमिषेण चक्षुषा प्रवर्षायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दं विरहेण मे अश्लिष्य वा पादरतं पिनस्तु मामादर्शनं मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा विदहतो लम्पतो मात्प्रणनातस्त्वेव नापर हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयति गिरिमित्कृपः तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनतारिणं श्रीपरमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् ओम पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थं गतोऽपि वा यत्स्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्ष साभ्याभ्यन्तरं शुचे श्रीविष्णु 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 Yes. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam, Prabhuji and Matajis. Today is Ekadashi, a very holy day, and we are going to read Srimad Bhagavatam. So, holiest activity on the holiest day. Right? So, very, very grateful that all of you have come. Am I clearly audible? Is my volume enough? Or is it
Yes,
low?
Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare
It is
Krishna.
audible.
Thank you very much. So, my Dandot Pranam to everybody, Santosh Rajitya Prabhu and family, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji. Subhra Prabhu, Nirpa Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Padma Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Ram Reddy Prabhu and Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam. Palamani Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Lakshmi
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Dandot Pranam. Satya Prabhu and Shirsha Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna. Lakshmi Kant Prabhu, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji. Yeah. Tulsi Mataji and Raja Ramesh Prabhu, Dandot Pranam. Shri Giraj Prabhu and Ramana Mataji, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji. Vinay Mayat Prabhu and Meera Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Bhavika Mataji and family. Mahesh Prabhu, Prashanti Mataji, Bhavika Mataji and Bala Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam. Padma Mataji, Arvind Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Vandala Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Thank you for loud, enthusiastic chanting today, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Chakrapani Prabhu, Dandot Pranam. Thank you for joining. Sandhya Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Lovesh Prabhu and Haripriya Mataji, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna. Sanjay Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam. Oh, Neha Mataji and Nikhil Prabhu, Dandot Pranam. Thank you for joining.
Prabhuji, I joined by my daughter's name, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Jyotsna Mataji, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna. Praveen Prabhu and Soma Mataji, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji.
Dandot Pranam Mataji. Satyadev Prabhu and Shivali Mataji, Dandot Pranam, Hare
Dandavat Pranam,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Pavan Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandavat Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna. Prasad Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Hare
Anandaram
Krishna,
Prabhu and
Prabhuji.
Charani
Dandavat
Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Oh, we have Lalit Mohan Prabhu. Lalit Mohan Prabhu and Mataji, Dandot Pranam, Hare Krishna. Dandot Pranam. A very happy Ekadashi to all of you. Rajesh Prabhu, Dandot Pranam. Puna Mataji, Sri Gopal Prabhu, Dandot Pranam. Lakshmi Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Harshal Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam. Thank you for joining.
Dandat Pranam Prabhuji. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
thank you all. It feels so nice paying obeisances to all Vaishnavas in the morning. That's the best thing to do, safest thing to do. now I've paid obeisance to all of you. You all should forgive me for all my mistakes. Now you're obliged to forgive me. Hare Krishna. So I was thinking in the morning what it takes to preach. What it takes to preach Srimad Bhagavatam. For that matter, anything at all. Because whenever we are preaching, we are always ahead of a challenge. The challenge is who is in front of us listening, right? We should be a best preacher. Who is the best preacher? We should be a best preacher like Sutta Goswami, who exactly repeats what he hears from Sukadeva Goswami. And at the same time, we should also be a best preacher like Vasudeva. Vasudeva was with his wife on the chariot, happily married, right? Happy days ahead. He got married, he was going to go, and suddenly his own brother-in-law, his wife's brother Kamsa, removes a sword and keeps it on the neck of his wife, just married wife. and he's going to kill her. And what time does he have to preach, Kamsa? Practically no time. And it's not like, most of the time we preach thinking that, okay, we're going to keep a seed of devotion in somebody's heart, or we're going to influence somebody in a small way, or we'll make them inquisitive. That's what we think when we are preaching. But here is a case where there is no time to forget about sowing seed. He has to save his wife. He immediately has to become a spontaneous preacher. And the preaching should be so effective. And the preaching should be so effective that immediately the person who is hearing should immediately implement it. If he say, okay, Vasudeva, whatever he spoke is nice, I'll implement it tomorrow. His wife is gone today. Immediately it has to be implemented, right? And Vasudeva has to preach what the audience is ready to hear, right? What the audience is ready to hear. He can't go and say, I am going to preach the best thing, whether you accept or not. If he says that, then for the rest of the history, it will be noted that Vasudeva preached and his wife was killed. He can't do that as well, right? He has to preach in such a way. He has to preach in such a way that, sorry, some noise is coming.
I did mute him.
Sorry, Proj. Yeah. So he has to preach in such a way that immediately his wife is saved, first of all. So Vasudev, there is a reason I'm telling you all this, is that Vasudev had to preach. Sometimes the first initial preaching may not sound like Krishna conscious preaching also. He had to tell Kamsa that, hey, you don't have a problem with my wife, your sister. You have a problem with her children. So I'm assuring you, Kamsa, that I'm going to bring the 8 children to you. I'm assuring you. Right? So Kamsa also was a very level-headed person in a way, because he agreed for that proposal. I mean, just think about it, any one of us. If we are that Kamsa, will we agree for that? Because tomorrow if Vasudev says, okay, I say joke bol raha tha, I was not totally sure what I was saying. If he says that, that means he has invited his agent of death, isn't it? 8th child or 7th child, somebody will come out and he'll kill. So, but he was so much agreeing to what Vasudev told. Why? What makes Vasudev the great preacher? His character. Vasudev's character was like that. He never went back on his word. He was totally filled with integrity. And so is the character of even Sudha Goswami. Here in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavatam, he is going to speak. He is going to start speaking about Srimad Bhagavatam. What a topic to speak, isn't it? Shaunaka Rishi had arranged this big arena in Naimisharanya, and he called Sutta Goswami. So anybody on the call, what do you think is a qualification that makes Sutta Goswami the perfect candidate to speak? Before we go ahead, what do you think is a qualification?
Prabhuji, he was not affected by the three modes of material nature. He was benedicted by Krishna himself when he was in the womb.
No, that's Sukadeva Goswami. This
Oh,
is Sukha
I'm
Goswami.
sorry. I'm sorry.
This is Sukha Goswami.
Maybe his
You're right.
complete surrender to his Guru Maharaj.
Yes, very nice point. Thank you, Prabhu. His complete surrender to
Also, he
Sukadeva
is fully
Goswami.
released, into the Srimad Bhagavatam, completely absorbed.
He was completely out while hearing. He was not doing any other activity.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And one very important point you all are missing. You can think about it. What qualifies any one of us? What qualifies any one of us to even preach, even in Gachibowli Satsang?
Compassion.
Yes, compassion. Yes.
Humble. He was humble.
Humility. Yes.
Prabhuji, he is very, what is it? He respects his guru very much. Like he, what is it? Sutta Goswami
Yes.
follows Vyasadeva as it is. Very humble towards his guru.
Respects his guru like anything. In fact, the first 5 verses, it doesn't even speak about anything. He just glorifies second chapter. Right? When I was reading yesterday.
He exactly repeated what he heard without any manipulation.
Yes.
He served his Guru.
He
With all his
served his
heart.
guru. Yes. And how he served? He served by hearing and now by repeating. Right? But there is one more thing. Very, very important. Very, very important. For anyone to preach is the blessings of Guru. Right? Blessing. I mean, he was following, he was definitely, but blessings of Guru are very, very important. And who is the one who blessed the Sutta Goswami to recite Bhagavatam?
Balram.
Yes, there you go. That's the answer I was looking for. Adi Guru, the original Guru, the Adi Guru of everybody, Lord Baladev, right? Lord Balaram had blessed the Sutta Goswami. How did it happen? It happened few years ago before this incident, before even the war of Mahabharata. Romaharshana Sutta. Romaharshana Sutta is the father of Sutta Goswami. So Romaharshana Sutta was conducting Bhagavatam class. He was reciting. Bhagavatam is an eternal thing. It's not like only Sukadeva Goswami spoke for the first time. It's been going on for years and years. The Supreme Lord's pastimes, things like that. He was reciting. Now, Romaharshana Sutta was not an ordinary person. He was a very scholarly person, very, very scholarly. So he was reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. And at that time, in that arena, Swayam Balaram came. Swayam Balaram. He came into that arena. You must have heard the story. So, as soon as Balaram came, the etiquette, in fact, not the etiquette formed through respect, is that you should pay obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Balaram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the mood of servitude. He is the Supreme Guru of the entire cosmic universe. He didn't do that. Romaharshana Sutta was just sitting there and continuing his class. He saw Balaramji. I heard it like this. I don't know the exact graphic, but he looked at Balaram and he continued. I don't know whether he even addressed or did not address, or Balaram felt this is a very wrong thing. Very, very wrong thing. Because only a qualified person with the right consciousness should preach. Otherwise, it's like giving milk with snake's poison, right? So immediately Baladev, he took a small grass, blade of grass, and he threw it on Romaharshana Sutta. With that killed him on the spot. Romaharshana Sutta was dead. Immediately the sages sitting in front were bewildered. Hey, what is this? This is Brahmana Hatya. In fact, very scholarly person, right? In a way, Vaishnava, you can say. But of course, he didn't depict the qualities of Vaishnava at that particular point in time. But Baladev killed, Romaharshana Sutta. And at that time, the Brahmanas asked Baladev, now that you have done this, Supreme Lord, you know the best why you have done it. But is it setting a right example for, ages to come? You have killed a Brahman. So immediately, Lord Baladev he says, okay, I'm going to do Prayaschitta. Two things I'm going to do. One, I'm going to give benediction to the son of Romarshana Sutta, Sutta Goswami, that he will repeat the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. He will represent revealing this knowledge to the world. And second, I'm going to go to all the holy places and serve Vaishnavas and take their blessings, and that is my Prayaschitta. And during the time of Mahabharata, Balram is walking across all the holy places, going around, exactly doing that. He was not there during the war time. And Romarshana Sutta's son, Sutta Goswami, was benedicted, Swayam, by Baladev, Lord Balaram, to repeat Srimad Bhagavatam. And no wonder he had such a great consciousness and such a great memory that he could literally recite everything that Sukadeva Goswami spoke. Right? So in the first chapter, so why I told the story of Vasudeva and Sutta Goswami is all that because you need to be blessed and you should have the greatest character to recite anything, to preach at all, right? Both of them are great preachers. One is Sutta Goswami, who is repeating what he heard from his guru and blessed by Lord Baladev. And here is Vasudeva, who is exemplifying character, also devotee of Supreme Lord, who is preaching according to time, place, and circumstances, right? Now here also the time, place, and circumstances, Kali Yuga is starting, and the sages are worried that this is iron age. Nobody will be interested in spirituality. People will lead a very horrible life. They'll be after women and wealth mainly. So what can we do to give them some solace? What can we do to help them in the best possible way? What is the right solution? So there are questions that are asked in the first chapter. There are 6 questions that are asked primarily. The beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam is it is covering, the questions are such that it covers the needs of everybody, not just the need of the person who is asking. Right? So the sages together ask, what is the ultimate benefit to the entire mankind? I'm sure Prasad Prabhu would have nicely covered this in the first chapter. I was not there on Sunday, but I'm just repeating the questions. Yeah, I'm just repeating. If there is any mistake, please, Prasad Prabhu, please correct me if there is anything I miss. So the first question is, what is the ultimate benefit to the entire mankind? Right? Entire mankind is saying. And second question, what is the essence of all scriptures? There are so many scriptures that Vyasdeva has written. What is the essence of all of it? Right? Now, these 2 questions are answered in the second chapter, which we'll discuss now. The third question is, what is the reason for Lord Krishna to appear as the son of Devaki? The son of the Devaki and Vasudeva. What is the reason he appeared? Right? And fourth is, describe the Lord's pastimes in different avatars. Different avatars. We want to hear, including when he appears as Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and Lord Vishnu himself as Guna avatars. Specifically, they say that. And fifth question is, describe fully the activities of the Supreme Lord in the entire universe. We want to know all activities, right? And finally, now that Lord Krishna has left, where has religion taken shelter? Right? Where is it now? How can we find, how can we be secured? Where has religion taken shelter? So these are the 6 questions that are asked, by Sutta, by the sages in Naimisharanya to Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami was there in the assembly of Sukadeva Goswami when Bhagavatam was first recited to Parikshit Maharaj. And now he is also in this assembly and is being asked to please talk. Now, one of the beauty you see is how they praise Sutta Goswami in the first chapter. I'm sure you already heard that. And that is the right etiquette we should also follow when we approach a sadhu. Bhagavatam teaches by its example. Now, all praises to Sutta Goswami, in that praise itself, there is the explanation of a need for discussing this is explained. The greatness of Srimad Bhagavatam is explained. And how we all will get relief out of hearing this is explained. And how eager they are is also explained, how eager they are to hear this, right? and everything about Krishna. They want to know, they want to focus it completely on Krishna. They want to know about Krishna. That is singing, right? So there are so many. So when you see the overview of all the conversation so far that has happened, it's filled with desperateness to hear, and a relief that we all need to receive, and a need to hear this, and the greatness of Bhagavatam, and the single pointed focus on Lord Krishna, right? That is there. They want to hear the pastimes of Krishna. They want to hear why Krishna appeared specifically also, apart from the pastimes of different avatars. They also want to ask that. So what we are going to do today is we will recite one verse as a format, that we normally follow for Bhagavatam class, and then we'll go with starting with verse number 1 and finish it all the way through verse number 34. Is that okay? So I'm just choosing one of the verses. It's necessarily not the first verse. Just one of the verses that I personally, there are so many verses in this chapter that we recite frequently. Narayan, Namaskrityam, Naram Chaiva, all these are there in this chapter, right? So I'm choosing verse number 28 and 29. I'm sharing my screen. You all can repeat after me. This is a beautiful verse, rather verses. Canto 1, chapter 2, 28 and 29. You all can repeat after me. Vasudeva Paraveda.
Vasudeva
Vasudeva
Paraveda.
Paraveda.
Vasudeva Paramakha.
Vasudeva
Vasudeva
Paramaka.
Paramaha.
Vasudeva Parayoga.
Vasudeva
Vasudeva
Parayoga.
Parayoga.
Vasudeva Parakriya.
Vasudeva
Parakriya.
Parakriya.
Vasudeva Paramja Jnanam.
Vasudeva Paramaka.
Paramjnanam.
Vasudeva Param Tapa.
Vasudeva Paramtapa.
Vasudeva Parodharmo.
Vasudeva
Parodharmo.
Vasudeva Paragati.
Vasudeva Paragati.
I'm directly going to read the translation. Instead of reading the word to word, you all can read the word to word later. Translation I'm reading. Translation. In the revealed scripture, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifice is to please him. Yoga is to realize him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by him only. He is the supreme knowledge, and all severe austerities are performed to know him. Religion, dharma, is rendering loving service unto him. He is the supreme goal of life. Okay. So here, every activity that we do, that we should do to please Krishna is being explained. It's a long purport, but I'm not going to go through the whole purport here. But primarily, please, as we understand the verse itself, right? Let's understand that the revealed scriptures are to explain about him. Yoga is to realize him. Activities are to please him, right? Supreme knowledge and all austerities are performed to know him. And religion is to render service unto him. That is the purpose of religion. How to serve God, how to love God. And the goal of life is him, right? Becoming conscious of him, right? That is the goal of life. So now we'll start from verse number 1. Yeah. So what we'll do is, the format that I've thought is, I will read the verse translation, and if there is any important point, I will mention that, and we'll go forward. I would recommend everyone to read the chapters by yourself. All the purports, detailed purports, because Prabhupada's extreme mercy is completely bestowed in these purports, the first canto. There are some devotees who have been reading first canto again and again and again for many years, and still they feel that the purports of Prabhupada are so beautiful, so complete, so needed for us to set the right mood for reading Bhagavatam. So the chapter itself is divided into like 5 sections. I'm also referring to Bhagavad compiled by the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapeetham. So they have said the first 5 verses is all about replying to the obeisances, replying to the respect that has been given. So Sutta Goswami is going to pay obeisances to his guru and acknowledge the hearers. The next 2 verses are about answering the first 2 questions, right? The first 2 questions were what? The first 2 questions were, what is the ultimate benefit to mankind and what is the essence of all this? So these 2 things are answered in 6 and 7. And verse number 8 through 15 is only bhakti is to be gained through performance of one's work, right? So importance of having bhakti in everything that we do is explained by Sutta Goswami. That is the whole goal. See, we're all sitting here to hear in Namasharanya, but what is it that we're trying to achieve? Trying to achieve bhakti. And then from verse number 16 to 21, the 4th section is about the prasa bhakti, which we all know, right from Shraddha, Sadhu, Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Ashakti, Bhava, and family prema. All these steps are concisely told by Sutta Goswami in these 5 verses, verse number 16 to 21, right? And then finally, from 23 to 29, the 5th section that Lord Krishna explains in relation to his various expansions. What is Lord Krishna and what are these expansions? Right? Plenary expansions, secondary expansions, and so many other expansions. That kind of overview is given, not like detail. The next chapter actually goes into many details about all incarnations. And finally, question number 4 is answered here by Lord Krishna manifests the material world by expanding the Purusha avatars, right? So question number 4 was describe the Lord's pastime on different avatars, especially the Guna avatars, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, right? So here that particular thing is answered. How he is expanding and what is he doing through these avatars, right? So this is how the whole chapter is divided. So we'll go through verse by verse and we'll see. Or let me do a thing, I can actually, we'll go through verse by verse. Let's do it like that. Yeah. So I'll recite it. You don't have to recite. I'll recite the verse and also the translation. It'll just take few additional minutes, but I thought doing this is nice because these verses are very important verses in the 2nd chapter. Vyasa vacha iti samprashna samhrishto vipranam rauma harshinai prati pujya vachastesham pravaktum upachakrame. Right here, Roma Harshana is mentioned. Roma Harshana is actually Roma Harshani, meaning the son of Roma Harshana. That we just heard, right? I mean, I repeated how Roma Harshana Sutta was killed by Balram. So he's being referred as you are the son of Roma Harshana. The whole pastime is being kind of referred. So greatness is you are bestowed by Balram. That's also something that you can understand by using that word. So here, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So Ugrashrava or Sutta Goswami, the son of Romarshana, being fully satisfied with the perfect questions of Brahmanas, thanked them and attempted to reply. Right? So here, in the purport, the sages of Namasharanya asked Sutta Goswami 6 questions, and so he is answering them one by one. Right? So how he answers, we should learn. One second. Yeah. So how he answered, we should also learn that how to answer for that matter, right? When somebody asks us questions, so he starts by glorifying Sukadeva Goswami, his guru. Sutta uvacha yam pravranjantam anupetam apeta krityam dvaipayano viraha katara ajuhava putreti tan mayatya taravo abhinedhus tam sarva bhuta hridayam muni anato asmi. Translation. Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, let me offer my respectable obeisances unto that great sage, Sukadeva Goswami, who can enter the hearts of all. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyasa, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread or ceremonies observed by higher castes, his father Vyasadeva, fearing separation from him, cried out, "Oh, my son! Indeed, only the trees which were absorbed in the same feeling of separation echoed the response to the bereaved father." Right? So here, the greatness of Sutta Goswami is being explained. What is the greatness here? That by birth itself, he was so transcendental that he just walked. He just walked into the forest right after. We have repeated this many times, so I don't think I want to repeat the detail why he walked like that. After spending good amount of time in his mother's womb, more than any one of us have spent, and mother womb is not a very comfortable and cozy place for a long time to stay. So still he stayed because he felt that is better than coming outside. But as soon as when he came outside, on the request of Sri Krishna, he came outside, and then he just started walking. He just walked without even, it's like sannyas, right? He just gave sannyas to himself. Just walked without clothes, or with barely anything at all, right? He just walked into the forest. And his father, Vyasadeva, and his mother is like, "Hey, what happened? Our child, he was there with us. We didn't even spend any time. And by the way, we did not even perform Upanayam for him, that he can actually go and do some activity." So here again, once again, you should understand that Upanayam and all these sanskaras are important, but sages and pure devotees like Sukadeva Goswami are above these activities, are above these sanskaras, because they have achieved the goal of all sanskaras. The goal of all sanskaras is to become Krishna conscious. And when you become Krishna conscious, you don't have to perform the sanskaras, but that is not an instruction for us. That is a explanation we should understand from great acharyas, what they have given about Sukadeva Goswami, that he need not perform, there was no need to perform sanskaras on him. But here, out of love and affection, both mother and father are shouting, "Hey, my son, where are you going? We want to spend time with you. Give us some time so that we can cuddle you, we can love you." But he is just walking away, right? So he's being described as a great person for doing so. But doing so is to just walk out, right? And not accept any comforts and go and preach Bhagavatam, right? So here further, let us go further to the next verse. So primarily, this is what is the important part of the purport that I've repeated now. So what I've done is, I've just read the purport and some important sections, made a note. I'm trying to repeat those only, but there are many other things that you can read later. 1.2.3. Ya svanubhavam akhila shruti saram ekam adhyatma deepam atirthir satam tamo andham samsarinam karunaya yaha purana guhyam tamyasa sunum upayami gurum muninam. Translation: let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Sukha, the spiritual master of all the sages, the son of Vasudeva, who, out of his great compassion for those gross metalists who struggle to cross over the darkest regions of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge after having personally assimilated by experience. Right? It's a very, very important thing that is being mentioned here. What is it? Sukadeva Goswami is a realized person. Now here it is being mentioned that he is revealing self anu. If you see the second word of the verse, swa anubhavam, or self assimilated or experienced knowledge, is going to speak. It's a very, very important thing, right? He is not just going to speak the verses. Yeah, he's going to speak the experience, right? How Bhagavatam has to be understood from the great pastimes of these great devotees, right? How they have spoken about God. He's going to reveal all that, right? So the greatness of Sutta Goswami is he is just not repeating of Sukadev Goswami. He just did not repeat some philosophy. He also repeated the glories of people who followed that philosophy, right? And actually lived by that philosophy and revealed it to the whole world, right? And Srila Prabhupada in the purport specifically explains this is one of the reasons why Shankaracharya did not opt to do any commentary on Bhagavatam. Because see, if there is a philosophy, you can play with it. You can try to change the meaning according to your intentions. You can do that. But what will you change when the philosophy is backed up by realizations of devotees? Directly, devotees in the Bhagavatam are speaking to the Supreme Lord, glorifying him and telling that he is that Supreme Person. How can Shankaracharya say he is not a person? He is energy, or he is a Brahman in which we all will also become one day. Advaita philosophy cannot touch Srimad Bhagavatam. Specifically because Sukadev Goswami is a devotee and he revealed Srimad Bhagavatam through experience that he has seen in so many great devotees, and he has heard from his father about so many great devotees in the Bhagavatam. That is the reason this is one scripture. In fact, the Amala Puran, the most important scripture, the essence of all scriptures, he could not comment. Shankaracharya, Lord Shiva did not touch it. My God, this is too much. Yes, Krishna, you asked me to spread Advaita, you asked me to spread Mayavada. I have done that work, but I can't touch this. This is very pure. Right? This cannot be manipulated like that. So that's the greatness of Sukadeva Goswami, that he actually gave the experiences, right? Are you all able to follow, Prabhuji and Mataji? Is that okay? Any questions at this point?
So Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam.
Yeah.
Because it is not going to support Advaita philosophy or whatever philosophy he has started, he could not touch it. That's what you're trying to summarize, Prabhu.
Yeah, Advaita, how can you speak Advaita when everything here is about glorification between God and his devotee?
Yes.
And more importantly, it is just not glorification, experience of the glorification also. So if you see in future, Prahlad is going to how he is experiencing Lord's presence in his heart, how he could see him outside, how he could, speak to him, how Lord bestowed him in this, how can he push in Advaita? And more importantly, Sukadeva Goswami is so beautifully explaining the realizations of devotees also. There was no scope of commenting on this.
But Shankaracharya also glorified Supreme Personality of the Godhead, Prabhu, during some other slokas many times, Prabhu.
Yeah, he did. But the recognition of Supreme Personality of Godhead as a close, intimate associate, as a person, not only his power, but his mercy, is explained mainly in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay, got it.
Right? Just not an introduction. It is about his love. And love can be between two persons. It cannot be between an energy and a person. Right? You can't say I love Brahman. How can you love Brahman? What is there in Brahman? Brahman is effulgence. But you love a person. I love Vasudeva, Krishna. Right? Okay.
So Prabhuji, one question. So the Bhagavatam which was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj did not contain these realization of the devotees?
It contained. That is the reason he's saying, he's glorifying his Guru, Sukadeva Goswami, that you have explained Bhagavatam with all these realizations, so you are so great.
Same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, this verse that we just read is Sutta Goswami has not started answering. He just said, "Oh, I am so grateful to that Sukadeva Goswami who has spoken his realized knowledge in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Like that, he's glorifying his Guru.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Right? Okay. Now, let's go to the next verse. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudhiraye. We always read this verse. In fact, one of the primary verses giving us the consciousness and qualification to recite any time Bhagavatam. Translation. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances onto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, onto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, onto Mother Saraswati, the mother of learning, and onto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Right? So this is a beautiful. So we should actually carry this consciousness every time we are reading Bhagavatam. Even casual reading, never pick up a Bhagavatam book and start reading just like that, without expressing your gratitude to these three great personalities. Who is that? Narayana, who is Swayam Naranarayana, Supreme Person, and to Mother Saraswati, who is allowing us to, giving us understanding of the scripture, and to Vyasadeva, who is the author of the scripture, of all the Vedas for that matter. Right? So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada lists about the link of Puranas, right? Puranas to today, right? Meaning there is Shruti knowledge, there is Smriti knowledge. So in the purport here in this case, Prabhupada is explaining that some people say that Puranas are only for less intelligent people, or they're not part of Vedas, right? Now here Prabhupada is trying to explain that this what Vyasadeva has given, which is being praised here, Narayana Namaskrityam, Naram Chaiva Narottamam, is given by Vyasadeva. And it's, even though it's a Purana, it is the via medium for us to understand the Smriti. Chandogya Upanishad actually says that if the Puranas would not have been there, we would have never understood any Upanishads. So Purana should not be considered as for less intelligent people or anything. It is actually very important literature, the account of history, which is very important for us to understand the Vedas, right? And among those Puranas, this Purana is the Amala Purana. This is the essence of all the scriptures itself, right? So link of Puranas is explained. I'll just see. There was one more thing in the purport that I wanted to repeat. Yeah. So the Puranas are so divided that any class of men can take advantage of them gradually, regain their lost position, and get out of the hard struggle of existence. Srila Sutta Goswami shows the way of chanting the Puranas. This may be followed by persons who aspire to become preachers of the Vedic literature and Puranas. Srimad Bhagavatam is spotless Purana, is especially meant for them who desire to get out of the metal entanglement permanently. Yeah. So here, Prabhupada explains, foolish men say that Puranas have no connection to the Vedas. But actually, Puranas are supplementary explanation of the Vedas. Right? So that is being insisted here. So let's go to the next verse. 125. Munaya sadhu prishto aham bhavatveer loka mangalam yat krita Krishna samprashno yenatma suprasidati. Translation. O sages, I have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and are so are the relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. This is another etiquette also, and also the greatness of those questions. Right? The questions are for everyone's welfare. It's not like sages and Namashirani are saying, "Oh, we are feeling very hot. Tell me how to stay cool," or "It's very cold. Tell me how to stay hot." So it's not about them and their comfort. They're asking. They're not asking, okay, Kali is starting, we all are sitting here, can you deliver all of us here? No, they're saying for the whole universe, for the whole mankind, right? So here Sutta Goswami is glorifying the sages that your questions are so exemplifying, they are so merciful, they are so filled with compassion. that you are actually asking for everybody's benefit, not just the benefit of one sect of people, but for everybody's benefit. Here, yes, here in this particular verse, the purport, the second para is very beautiful, and I thought I'll repeat it. This is something that I always like, one of the sweetest purports of Prabhupada. Please, can anybody repeat this, the second, the whole word?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes.
The whole world is full of questions and answers. The birds, beasts, and men are all busy in the matter of perpetual questions and answers. In the morning, the birds in the nest become busy with questions and answers, and in the evening also, the same birds come back and again become busy with questions and answers. The human being, unless he is fast asleep at night, is busy with questions and answers. The businessmen in the market are busy with questions and answers, and so also the lawyers in the court and the students in the schools and colleges. The legislators in the parliament are also busy with questions and answers, and the politicians and the press representatives are all busy with questions and answers. Although they go on making such questions and answers for their whole lives, they are not at all satisfied. Satisfaction of the soul can only be obtained by questions and answers on the subject of Krishna.
When I first read this purport, I so much loved it. How is the purport, Prabhuji? Amazing, right? Prabhupada is practically bringing the whole world and saying, everybody is asking, including animals, including birds are asking question and answers, but nobody is asking about Krishna. Nobody is asking about Krishna, right? And Prabhupada so beautifully concludes that unless one inquires about Krishna and learns about Krishna, they'll not be happy. They'll not be happy, right? They cannot find, soul will never be satisfied. Soul is satisfied only when soul talks about Krishna, hears about Krishna, thinks about Krishna. Krishna consciousness is the only happiness. Prabhupada is so beautifully putting here. And the questions of Naimisharanya, the stages, are all about Krishna. So that is why Bhagavatam is so nectarian, because it's all about Krishna. So, this one of my favorite purports, Prabhupada, which I will never feel tired of reading, is how beautifully Prabhupada all the way went into courts also, lawyers, legislatures, right? Teachers, students, school, birds, every living entity. They're all asking questions. Everybody is busy asking question answers. You go to the office today. Now, after this class, you all will go to the office. What are you going to do? Question, answer, question, answer. Are we happy with that? No, we cannot be happy with those question answers. When will the project get over? When will you send the request? When will you this? When will you that? They're like, you know what? Give an answer and get rid of him. You're not really feeling, when somebody asks a question like that, oh, you asked that question? I feel so nice. Let us sit down and answer. You will never feel that anywhere else. Only when it comes to Bhagavatam, only when it comes to pastimes of Lord Krishna, you feel happy hearing questions and you feel more happy answering questions, right? So that is being explained in Prabhupada in that purport. I thought I'll just share with you. Once again, if you want to remember this, it's 125. 125 shlokas, second paragraph purport. So let's go to 126, again, one of our favorite shlokas that we always quote. What is dharma? Savayapum sam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaje ahaityaki aprahihata yayatma suprasidati. Now here from shloka number 6 onwards comes the third section of, comes the section of answering the first two questions, right? What were the first question? What is the ultimate benefit to mankind? That is answered in this shloka, right? Savaya pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshiye ahaityaki aprahiyata yatma suprasidati. Here, the supreme occupation, dharma, of all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Right? So, so what is the supreme occupation? What was the question of the sages? The question was, what is the ultimate benefit to mankind? The ultimate benefit to mankind is to uninterruptedly and unmotivatedly serve the Supreme Lord. And that will satisfy everyone, right? And to attain the devotional service, loving devotional service, Savepumsam Paro Dharma. That is the Paro Dharma. That is the most important duty that everybody should perform. Right? So we have discussed this many times, and in the purport, Prabhupada even goes into Pravritti Marg and Nivritti Marg. Right? Pravritti Marg is leading a life about performing activities for sense gratification included. And Nivritti Marg is about renouncing those things, right? So, path of renunciation, path of sense gratification, sense enjoyment, and path of renunciation. So, Prabhupada explains that Nivritti Marg is the better path, where you're not trying to satisfy the senses, but to satisfy Supreme Lord. And how you are supposed to satisfy? Ahoitaki aprahihata, right? Uninterrupted and unmotivatedly. So, we'll go to the next verse. Here, the next part, the second question is being answered. The second question was, what is the essence of all scriptures? Now here, that is being answered in one single verse. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahoitukam. Translation. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Right? So this is ultimate purpose, right? By rendering devotional service onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment. So this scriptures that we are reading should give two things. One, it should give knowledge of the supreme goal, Sri Krishna, and it should help us get detached from all our attachments in this material world. It should help us come out of all the shackles, right? So bhakti is the most intelligent. Prabhupada goes on in the purport and talks about bhakti being the most intelligent, right? This purport is long, and he says no need to practice separately detachment or knowledge. If you are performing bhakti, you don't have to sit down and say, oh, I have to become detached now, or I have to get more knowledge now. Don't be after knowledge. Be after service. And service that your guru is giving. Most important thing. Whatever service you're getting it from your guru. And guru can be, guru is a representative of Baladev. And gurus are of different types who come into our life. Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru, Vardhamana Prajita Guru. So whoever comes and he gives some service, understand that that is the greatest activity to do. And that is actually the essence of all scriptures. See, if somebody is, for example, if somebody is going on accumulating knowledge, right, without surrendering to a guru, what can happen? Think about it. Tell me what can happen. If you're not surrendering to a guru, and you're going on accumulating knowledge.
Pride and arrogance.
Huh?
Proudness.
Pride and arrogance.
Pride and arrogance. Yeah, I couldn't hear that clearly. Yeah.
Proud
Pride,
only.
arrogance. Yes. And what else? You're going on accumulating knowledge without hearing to your guru. You just like accumulating knowledge. You're not following any of guru's instructions.
It's a point of time, lot of dullness as well.
Huh?
Dullness.
I mean, you will not be happy.
Yeah.
Okay. See the example, the first example that I gave of Romarsha and Sutta is a classic example. He had all the knowledge, but no surrender to Guru. What did Baladev do? He immediately killed him. That this person is a danger for the society. You understanding?
Yes.
It's very dangerous. It's not a simple thing, Prabhupada Mataji. And that is the reason Vedic knowledge was not given to people who were not properly disposed, properly situated. In fact, there is a pastime in Ramayana where Lord Ram kills a Shudra when he's being given, when he's reading Vedas, when he's trying to get big knowledge. I heard this, not completely, but in a lecture I had heard that Lord Ram actually kills him, and people are like, oh, that means Shudra should not read Vedas? No, anybody can read Vedas provided they are surrendered to Guru. Right? So please understand that when you try to get knowledge, without service to Guru or without service to devotees, as per the instructions of Guru, that knowledge will become a burden to carry. It will become an unnecessary accumulation, which will not allow you to surrender also. Actually, too much knowledge is not good. One, it is another medium of sense enjoyment, your mind's enjoyment. The mind enjoys when you get more and more knowledge. But then it will not allow you to surrender. Lalit Mohan Prabhu, you want to add anything on this? Sorry, Prabhuji is. I thought his association being here, he would comment something more than what I missed. But it's very important that we all understand, Prabhuji and Mataji, in the satsang also, right? Make sure that you increase your knowledge according to your surrender, right? And consult your Guru asking, are you ready for that? Otherwise, that will become a burden, a very big burden, right? Because you see, it being an open society like ISKCON, knowledge is available everywhere. It's available everywhere. You can just go and type and send some money and join, or without money join, or you can get into so many, and it's nothing wrong provided you are surrendered. Otherwise, that will become a very big burden. You will get so much knowledge that one day you will say, my Guru knows lesser, I know better, and you start performing aparads against devotees. Because the essence of all that is surrender, right? See, fundamentally, your 16 round should be perfect. Chanting of 16 rounds should be perfect. Your following 4 regulated principles should be perfect. Your service should be as per the instructions of Guru, not as per what you like to do, as per the instructions of Guru. And you should be enthusiastic to serve more and more year on year. Not that I've served this, I think I've already done enough. Or limiting yourself, or finding faults in others when they're trying to surrender more. All these qualities will emerge if your sadhana is not good. And on top of that, if you're learning too much more, that even adds to the problem. Knowledge every time doesn't solve everything. Knowledge sometimes even confuses you, or rather makes one arrogant, right? So here, Prabhupada is specifically mentioning that in the purport, that one has to practice detachment and renunciation, right? And for that, you don't need to separately practice if you get bhakti. If you focus on surrender to Guru and perform devotional service, you don't have to focus on these other things. Specific focus is not needed, right? And in the purport, it's a big purport, but I'm trying to focus on few important things. He's saying that bhakti is for the most intelligent people, even if they are Shudras, Vaishyas, and women. Here, Prabhupada explains. Now, why Shudras are explained, Vaishyas are explained, why woman is explained. It is explained that even these people, when they perform bhakti, they achieve the goal. Even they can perform bhakti, is what Prabhupada is saying. Now, Shudras, because they are order followers, they can be misdirected if they're not cautioned. So even they can perform bhakti and perfect their lives. Vaishyas are generally very money-oriented people, very number-oriented people, result-oriented people. They also can perfect their lives with performing bhakti, like that they say. And soul in a woman body or a man body, right? We are the soul. We are not woman, not man. Neither of us are woman or man. But since we are in a woman body is very, it looks for body consciousness is more. It's more body conscious, right? How am I looking? What should I do to look better? What should I wear better? What makes me look nice? It's all about body. It's there in that. In the body itself gives that consciousness. You can't say that, I am not like that. No. That's the reason they say women are less intelligent. In the woman body, you are less intelligent because you are very bodily focused. Right? If there were no women, in Hyderabad, there will not be any Koti habits also. Koti habits running because of women only. Right? Because that's the way the body is and the conscience is. And Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that even women can practice bhakti and perfect their lives and become the most intelligent. Most intelligent activity to do is bhakti, right? So we'll go further. 1 to 8. Yes, 1 to 8. Dharma swanusthita pumsam vishwakshena kathashuya no notpadaye yadi ratim shrama evahi kevalam. Now here it is being explained. Translation. The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. Beautiful statement of Sutta Goswami is telling the sages that these duties that people are performing, if they're not related to Krishna, they're useless, he's saying. They're completely useless, right? Like the people of this world who are living, they don't attend any science of self-realization course. They have not attended any discovery yourself course. They have never read Bhagavad Gita properly under the guidance. Just imagine their lives. చూస్తున్నారా మీరు బయట అంటే how many of you are convinced that we are alive and they are dead? Are you convinced? I mean, I'm really telling you, in entire Gachibowli, we are the only people who are alive. Everybody else is dead. Such funeral. There is Shrama Evahi Kevalam. Right? That is Sutta Goswami. Their occupational duty has got nothing to do with Krishna. Nothing to do with Krishna. Their existence has no meaning, no relevance. If somebody is constructing a 50-floor skyscraper here and names it Reddy Towers, Shrama Evahi Kevalam. You understanding? Shrama Evahi Kevalam. Somebody becomes senior director in Qualcomm. Shrama Evahi Kevalam is a dead fellow. Somebody buys a huge, Lamborghini limousine. I don't know if it exists also. The Lamborghini is famous. Limousine of Lamborghini. And drives it around the streets. It's as good as a crow going in the sky. Shrama Evahi Kevalam. Somebody is a lecturer in ISB. Great principles is teaching. Shrama Evahi Kevalam. I'll tell you something. I was watching when Narendra Modi came here and he was giving awards to students in ISB. How many have seen that video? One by one student was going and taking award, kind of a convocation or something like that, or the best students. Has anybody seen that? In ISB, he came here and he was giving that award. See it once, after this class. Just see it once. You don't have to see the whole thing. Just see when he's giving the awards. Such a elderly person like Narendra Modi. People can have differences. Is BJP, is that. Forget about all that. He's an elderly person. He's a person in his 70s, almost touching 80s. He has come all the way and he's a prime minister, elected prime minister of the largest democracy on the planet. He has come all the way to give awards to or certificates to the best students of ISB, International School, what is the Indian School of Business. When he's giving that awards, not a single fellow bowed down and took blessings. Or even said, even folded his hands. Not a single fellow. It was like, Narendra was giving the word, he did and gone. Not a single girl, not a single boy. You know what ISB has produced? It has produced a burden on the society by creating these fools who don't even know how to be grateful, who don't even know how to be respectful to elderly people. Shrama eva hi kevalam. If your occupational duty does not bring up Krishna consciousness, it is sheer burden on the society. Burden. Have you all understood, Projan Martins? What Sutta Goswami is saying here?
Yes,
Right? Better than that is a nursery school where when the teacher comes and tells, you got this mark, the child says thank you. Children, small children. I have seen in one university, some video was there in somewhere in America or Europe, I don't know. When the convocations are being given, Indian students actually came, took it and touched the feet of the dean who was giving the certificates, and he left. And the dean was shocked. What is he doing? Because it's not in their culture to touch the feet. But he showed that. Right? That is, so we have to teach our children to be respectful to their teachers. Otherwise, the whole material education is Shrama eva kevalam. We have produced a burden on the society. Right? So Krishna consciousness is so important and so integral. Sutta Goswami is telling to the sages of Navasharanya, in the beginning itself is declaring that all this we are going to discuss because this is the perfection of life. Every activity that is done without this consciousness, without Krishna consciousness, is Shrama eva hi kevalam. Right? So we'll go to the next shloka. 1 to 8 and 1 to 9. Dharmasya hi apavargasya nartho arthyo pakalpate narthasya dharmai kantasya kamo labhaya hi smrita. Translation. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to the sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. Right? So here, so clearly, it is being mentioned that first of all, everything should be performed, as part of your occupational service for ultimate liberation. That is bhakti. Actually, liberation, when the word liberation, whenever it is used in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's always about bhakti. And should never be used for material gain, right? Or sense gratification. Yeah, 1 to 9. So whatever that we are earning, whatever that we are getting out of our occupational activities, it should be used in Krishna consciousness. Actually, it should only be used in Krishna consciousness, not for our sense enjoyment. That is what Sutta Goswami is saying here. Never. If you do that, then you create more miserable life for yourself. If you create attachment, the moment you start using it for your sense gratification, you create attachment. Yes. We'll go to the next verse. 10. Kamasya nendriya pritir labho jiveta yavata jivasya tattva jignasa nato yasya karma bhi. Translation. Life's desires should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation. Since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth, nothing else should be the goal of one's works. Right? One should desire for only a healthy life or self-preservation, since a human being is meant to inquire of the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of life. Not sense gratification. Right? So 10th shloka. Indirectly, everyone is looking for sense gratification. That's what Prabhupada goes ahead and says, that many people are actually looking for sense gratification, everything that they do, but actually the life purpose is not that. You should not use it for sense gratification. We'll go to the next one. 11th verse. This is a very important word. Vadanti tat tattva vidha tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti sabhyate. Learn transcendentalists know the absolute truth, call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. Right? Now here, Sutta Goswami is one more level he is going and telling everybody that, okay, your occupational duties are to serve him, but he is realized in 3 different stages. Right? One is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Right? It's important what we are connecting to. And the result of all these 3 is not same. Let me be very clear about it. Sutta Goswami in the next verse is going to make it very clear that actually, if somebody is connected to Brahman, it's not equal to connecting to Bhagavan. Somebody connecting to Paramatma is not equal to connecting to Bhagavan. Bhagavan realization is the highest. And people in the mode of ignorance and passion, they go down to lower, they focus on lower things. Right? So we'll actually read that in the future verses. Let's go to the next one. 1 to 12. Tat shraddha dhana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaya pasyanti atmani chatmanam bhaktya shruta grihitaya. The seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. Right? Here it's very important that Sutta Goswami is distinguishing, right, about a person who's serious versus a person who's not serious. Here he's saying very clearly that a seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped in the knowledge from detachment, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. So here in the purport, Prabhupada talks about Brahman and Paramatma realization as partial realization. People who just understand, talk about Brahman, right? And about Paramatma localized aspect, they only talk about partial. Third class devotee, right? I mean, people in such situation who are only talking about Brahman and Paramatma can be saved by hearing from the right source, from a right devotee. That is the only savior for them. They cannot connect to God and hear directly from God. They don't have that intelligence. So people who at the Brahman realization stage or Paramatma realization stage they need a devotee to enter into their lives and actually take them to Bhagavan. Otherwise, they can never come out of it. Right? Right sources, otherwise they'll be cheated. And last para of this purport is very important. The para 4, once again. 1, 2, 3, yeah. Verse number 12. Yes. 4th line. Here, this is the 4th line we should focus on. Yeah. Can somebody read this? The highlighted portion.
Hare Krishna. Unless, therefore, devotional service is established on the principles of Shruti, Smriti, Purana, or Pancharatra authorities, the make show of devotional service should at once be rejected. An unauthorized devotee should never be recognized as a pure devotee. By assimilation of such messages from Vedic literatures, one can see the all-pervading localized aspect of the personality of Godhead within his own self constantly. This is called Samadhi.
Samadhi. Hare Krishna. Right. So most importantly, even by performing activities by reading Shruti, Smriti, Purana, and even Pancharatra authorities, if they don't have devotion, that is a make show activity. Such a powerful statement Prabhupada is making it. Yeah. 1 to 13. Ata pumbir dvija shreshta varnashrama vibhagasha swanutisya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. This is also a very famous verse. We keep quoting. Samsiddhir haritoshanam verse, right? So translation. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded with the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to the caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. That is the main thing, right? Here, the purport, Varnashrama is not one class dominating the other class. Prabhupada is saying, Varnashrama is not established to say that, oh, Brahmanas are better than Vaishyas, Vaishyas are better than Shudras, Kshatriyas are better than Vaishyas and Shudras. That is not the purpose of Varnashrama. It is actually to surrender. It should help us surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the purpose of Varnashrama. Right? That is what is being mentioned here. Cooperating jointly for satisfaction of Lord. That is the beautiful, actually, Prabhupada writes this sentence. Where is it? Cooperating. Somebody writes that in the purport and made a note of it. Is basically Varnashrama means understand one sentence. Cooperating jointly for the satisfaction of Lord. Cooperating jointly for the satisfaction of Lord. That is the purpose of Varnashrama. Yeah, that is the most important thing. So we'll go to the next verse, 2.14. Tasmad ekena manasa bhagavan satvatam pati shrotavya kirti tavyascha dhyaya pujaschya nityada. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. Right? One pointed attention, you should. Very, very important. God only, not any politicians or humans. Prabhupada writes in the purport, people are glorifying politicians, people are glorifying some superhumans. No, they should be respected, but focus should be on God. Right? One should constantly glorify and remember and worship God, not political leaders, not any famous people. So people sit down and talk about cricket, about Tendulkar for like 4 hours. They talk about some match, some this, some nonsense. Don't spend your human life to glorify anybody except God. Prabhupada is explaining the purport, right? Beautiful. Actually, this purport you should read. It's so nice. 15. Yes. Here, it's about liberation. He expects about liberation. Yad anudhyasina yukta karma grandhi nibandhanam chindanti kovidastasya kona kuryat katharatim. With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, one who will not pay attention, therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? No? By remembering Supreme Lord, you can cut the knots of reactionary work. Even karma, you can get rid of it by remembering the Supreme Lord. Right? Who will not pay attention is what being told by Sutta Goswami. But unfortunately, today nobody pays attention to this only. Right? Liberation means freedom from reactionary work. You get the sentence of Prabhupada. I just made a note of it. This sentence, right? In one sentence, Prabhupada told what is liberation. Liberation means freedom from cycle of reactionary work. What is reactionary work? Activities done in goodness, passion, and ignorance. Liberation means to get rid of all the reactions, getting rid of reactionary work. And how do you get rid of reactionary work? By performing Krishna conscious activity in every occupational activity that we do. Occupational activity that we do, right? Let's go to the next one. Sushrusho Shraddha Dhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nisevanat. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So performing that seva to Guru, one starts understanding the messages of Vasudeva. There is no other way. Life's perfection is to serve devotees. Right? So remember that always. 1 to 17. Yeah. Here. Shrinavatam sva katha Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridi anta stohi abhadrani abhadrani vidnoti shruhut satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Right? So here it is being told that the truthful devotee, who is Paramatma, so is Paramatma in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of truthful devotee cleanses the desire of material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee when he chants his names, when he hears his messages. Right? When properly heard and chanted. This is very important. In fact, in Shishtastakam, Prabhupada quotes Shishtastakam second verse. And the purport, it says, what is that? What is Shishtastakam second verse?
Nam Namakari.
Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti Tatradipa Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hejan and Anuraga. Right? When you believe that God has invested all his energies in these holy names and chant them by taking shelter of them, automatically all sense enjoyment and all attachment will be left. This I'm telling this to myself, that I should get that faith. Whenever I chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, I should know that actually everything God wants to give is there in those holy names. Right? And that is the perfection of life. Prabhupada explained that in the purport. It's a long purport. You can read it sometime, but in a sense, is quoting the second shloka. Yeah. Now, this is again. Nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. 1 to 18. By regular attendance in classes of Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Right? Now, here is the beauty, right? I mean, just by attending regularly our classes of Bhagavatam, wherever we are attached to a temple, go to the temple. You're going to satsang, go to satsang. But regular. And render service unto the pure devotee, and everything else will be taken care of. Right? So there are two Bhagavatams that we should remember here. One is book Bhagavatam, one is person Bhagavata, walking Bhagavatam, person Bhagavatam. So if you are just serving the book Bhagavatam, that's not sufficient. You should also serve the person Bhagavata. Prabhupada explains this in the purport about the person Bhagavata. 1 to 19. Tada rajas tattamo bhava kama lobhadayaschaye cheta eter anavidham sthitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. Right? So, how the heart transformation is happening? As soon as he does service, as soon as he does service, and the heart is completely freed from ignorance. Right? Here, the last paragraph of the purport is very powerful. So I've made a note that we should read it. Can anyone read this purport?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, sir.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me, Prabhuji?
I can hear you. Please read.
A devotee is always in the mode of unalloyed goodness, therefore he harms no one. But the non-devotee, however educated he may be, is always harmful. A devotee is neither foolish nor passionate. The harmful, foolish, passionate cannot be devotees of the Lord. However, they may advertise themselves as devotees by outward dress. A devotee is always qualified with all the good qualities of God. Quantitatively, such qualification may be different, but qualitatively, both the Lord and his devotee are one and the same.
Right? So that's the greatness of a devotee. Prabhupada is explaining here. And when we serve such a devotee, right, then perfection is automatically attained. That is what is being mentioned here. Right? Sutta Goswami. 1 to 20. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. Translation. Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Self-explanatory. Basically, it's the meaning. Purport focuses to explain that devotee transcends all the modes, right? Easily transcends all the modes just by devotional service. That is the greatness of devotional service that this verse explains. 2.21. Vidyate hridaya grantis siddhyante sarva samshaya shiyante chasya karmani drista evat manishvare. Thus the knot of devotion, thus the knot in the heart is pierced and all the misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is transmitted when one sees the self as master. Meaning when one becomes self-realized, when one understands that I am the servant of my master who is sitting in my heart as Paramatma, as the Supreme Lord, all the knots of the heart are pierced and misgivings are removed. Right? Basically, here, like sun removes the darkness. Prabhupada explains in the purport. Like the sun removes all the darkness as soon as sun comes out. In the same way, when devotion comes in, every unnecessary thing is removed. When we say, when we recite this verse, Om Jnana Timirandatsya Jnananjana Shala, we are born in ignorance, but the ignorance is removed by the elimination of knowledge, right? And the knot here represents Ahankara. The knot that is being mentioned here in the heart is actually our Ahankara, false ego, that we are this, we are that, right? 1 to 22. Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya mudha vasudeva bhagavati kuruvanti atma prasadinim. Certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to the Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, with great delight, because such devotional service is enlivening to the self. Yeah, enlivening to the self, right? So everybody has been performing it. That's what is being told. Like more proof is being given. This works. 1 to 23. Satyam rajastama iti prakriter gunaistair yukta para purusha eka ihasya dhate shriti adye hari vrinchi hareti samya Shreyamsi Tatra Kalau Sattvatanor Ninam Shruyu. The transcendental personality of Godhead is indirectly associated with the three modes of material nature, namely passion, goodness, and ignorance. And just for the worldly creation, maintenance, and destruction, he accepts the three quality forms of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Of these three, all human beings can derive ultimate benefit from Vishnu, the form of quality of goodness. Actually, here he is answering the fourth question of the sages as to of the Gunavataras. So here is answering that he, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is actually taking this form to basically deliver the people, and among them Vishnu is representing the mode of goodness. We should follow Vishnu. That is being told. Now the next few verses are all about sole focus on worshipping Krishna only. Parthivad Dharuno Dhumas Tasmad Agnis Traimaya Tamastastu Rajas Tasmad Tatvam Yad Brahma Darshanam. Can somebody mute? Others, somebody is like constantly. Yeah, thank you. Firewood is a transformation of earth, but smoke is better than the wood, and fire is still better. For by fire, we can derive the benefits of superior knowledge through Vedic sacrifices. Similarly, passion, rajas, is better than ignorance, tamas, but goodness, sattva, is best because by goodness one can come to realize the absolute truth. Right? Here, very clearly it is being mentioned by Prabhupada in the purport and also in translation that worshipping everybody doesn't give the same result. Right? You don't want to go and worship devatas who are not going to give the same result and say that by worshipping devatas also, that is also bhakti. No. It's being very, very clear in these verses. Sutta Goswami is establishing the beginning itself that Bhagavatam is not about devatas, it's about Bhagavan. Right? Yeah. 1 to 25. Let's go to the next one. Bijire munayo athagre Bhagavatam adokshajam Sattvam Vishuddham Kshemaya Kalpate Ye Nu Tan Iha. Translation. Previously, all the great sages rendered service unto the personality of Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. They worshipped him to become free from material conditions and thus derive the ultimate benefit. Whoever follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from the material world. Here, example is being given that the great sages worshipped the Supreme Lord and they were above the three modes of material nature. So we should also follow them. Right? 1 to 26. Mumukshavo Ghora Rupan Hitva Bhuta Patin Atha Narayana Kala Santa Bhajantihi Anushuyava. Yes. Translation. Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious and they respect all. Yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only the all blissful forms of Vishnu and his plenary portion. See, here devatas are in different forms, they are coming in front of us. Right? Like Kala Bhairavi, what is it? If you see here, Prabhupada in third purport says, the separated parts and parcels have different positions in the estimation of material power, and some of them are like Kala Bhairava, Samshana Bhairava, Shani, Mahakali, and Chandika. These demigods are worshipped mostly by those who are in the lowest category of the mode of ignorance. In passion, you worship Brahma, Shiva, Surya, Ganesha, and similar deities. But in Sattva Guna, you worship Lord Vishnu, right? And Shuddha Sattva, you go further and you start worshipping Narayana, Damodara, Vamana, Govinda, Adokshaja, etc. So worshipping even the plenary portions, we should be very careful. How and whom are we worshipping? The expansion of Supreme Lord. 1 to 27. Rajastama Prakritaya Samashila Bhajanti Vai Pitrir Bhuta Prajesh Sadin Shriyaisvaryas. What is it? Shriyaisvarya Praje Shava. Those who are in the mode of passion and ignorance worship those in the same category, namely the forefathers, other living beings, and the demigods who are in charge of cosmic activities. for they are urged by the desire to be materially benefited with women, wealth, and power and progeny. Right? That is what they are attracted to, power and ignorance and passion, people. Right? Here it is being mentioned how to get rid of them. At 28 and 29, we already recited this verse before, that for everything it is to please Krishna only. Object of knowledge is Krishna. Like in the revealed scriptures, the ultimate goal of the knowledge is Sri Krishna, personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing all sacrifices is to please him. Yoga is to realize him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded for him only. He is the supreme knowledge, and all severe austerities are performed to know him. Religion is to render service unto him. He is the supreme personality of Godhead. Yeah, we are starting. Actually, the 24-hour Kirtan, I'm trying to go fast so that I can finish another. I'll just read the 3 translations. We already discussed the essence of it. Can you start in the meantime, Anurag? Just start a little Kirtan. I'll finish this and join. It's already, link is already there. Okay. 1 to 30. Sa evedam sasar jagre Bhagavan Atma Mayaya Sad Asad Rupaya Chasau Gunamaya Guno Vibhu. Translation. In the beginning of the material creation, that absolute personality of Godhead Vasudeva, in his transcendental position, created the energies of cause and effect by his own internal energy. Right? So who has created karma? You can see this is the cause and effect energy is created by Lord only. Right? It is being mentioned here. Yeah. 31. Taya vilasite eshu guneshu gunavan iva anta pravishta abhati vignena vijribita. Translation. After creating the material substance, the Lord Vasudeva expands himself and enters into it. And although he is within the material modes of nature and appears to be one of the created beings, he is always fully enlightened in the transcendental position. So here it is being told how he is creator of the material universe but not binded by it. Yatahi avahito vahneir dhar dharusvi eka svayo nanena bhati visvatma bhuteshu cha tatha puman. The Lord, as the super soul, pervades all things just as fire permitting wood, and so it appears to be of many varieties, though he is absolute one without a second. Right? So here it is meant the omnipotent, omniscient aspect is being glorified. How he receives service and devotion from everybody. Aso gunamayer bhavair bhuta sukmendriyatmabhi swa nimitteshu nirvisto bhunkte bhuteshu tad gunan. Translation. The super soul enters into the bodies of all created beings who are influenced by the modes of material nature and causes them to enjoy the effects of these modes by the suitable mind. Right? Here it is being mentioned how the Lord is expanding into all living beings. Right? And how he is allowing the living beings to interact with the modes and also sanctioning whatever desires they want to fulfill. Right? But the person who is performing bhakti is above all this. Last shloka. Bhavayati esha satvena lokan vai loka bhavana leelavatar anurato devatiryan naradishu. Thus, the Lord of the universes maintains all planets inhabited by demigods, men, and lower animals. Assuming the roles of incarnations, he performs pastimes to reclaim those in the mode of pure goodness. Now here it is being told how the Supreme Lord comes again and again in different avatars to claim the people who want to perform bhakti. And it is basically setting a precedent for the next chapter, 3rd chapter of 1st canto, which is about incarnation of Supreme Person of Godhead. Right? So thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport, the 1st canto, 2nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Divinity and Divine Service. Right? So everything about bhakti is mentioned, everything about what we achieve by bhakti is mentioned, everything about performing occupational duties, keeping bhakti in center is mentioned, and how bhakti to the Supreme Lord is superior then bhakti to devatas is mentioned, and ultimately how the Supreme Lord is helping us by coming as Paramatma and also as different avatars to deliver us is mentioned, right? So that's pretty much Prabhu's and Mataji's. I'm sorry I went a little about the time. The chapter was big, I was trying to cover the essence of each purport. So thank you very much for your audience. I'll have to leave the call, and we are starting 24-hour Kirtan. This is a Holy Name week, and I'm already 5 minutes late. So please assemble in the other Zoom call, which is mentioned, which is a Kirtan, and please perform Kirtan enthusiastically. Don't do it like a ritual. It is a Yuga Dharma we are going to perform. Okay, so let's enthusiastically perform the 24-hour Kirtan, and I'm very grateful to Shama Gaurangi Mataji, disciple of His Holiness Loknath Swami Maharaj, who is always spreading holy names and Kirtan. So they have organized this, and Lovesh Prabhu has taken the initiative of organizing 24-hour Kirtan. So let's participate and do it. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. I may not have time to take questions. Maybe we can discuss over the satsang time. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patithanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anand koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Paad ki jai. Nitai Gaur Hari Premanande. Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat.